Hello, Steel City Surge fans. Skippy here, coach of your Steel City Surge, back for week 4 of NBBL, Nova's Bacon Battalion League. We are taking on Padel, otherwise known as Faye, and they have a very scary rain team. No Pelipper, but Politoad as the rain setter with Floatzel, Iron Jugulus, Thunderous, Archaludon, Palafin, not to mention there's Golurk, there's a Glamora, there's a Meloetta. It's a very scary team. Who do we see? We see Meloetta, we see Floatzel, we see Golurk. Very interesting. No Palafin, no Archaludon. Very interesting team choice here. We see Meloetta and we see Golurk. Okay. So I still like my lead Zoroark here. And I'm going to have it sit in front of Necrozma and proc Necrozma. So we're going to go ahead and start with that and go from there. We are weakness policy Necrozma. We have Psychic Seed, Sneasler with Choice Scarf in DD to set up terrain and do massive damage. So we are going to try to take advantage of rain as much as we possibly can. Rotom Wash should be a very solid check for the Floatzel here. Now, the Terra Captains, the Jug, the Meloetta, and the Golurk are all here, so all 3 Terra Captains are in play for my opponent. Best of luck to Faye. This will be a very good battle for us. We see Thunderous is the lead. Okay, so Zoroark, Thunderous. I mean, it could Thunder Wave. I kind of just want to get damage off on this guy. I don't think it wants to potentially proc anything, but it might go for a Thunder Wave. But getting damage off on this thing is really, really nice. And we do see the Thunder Wave. We are Zoroark, so we're going to get free damage on this thing. Insane. We get it down to half HP. I am really happy with that. I am extremely happy with that play. So we do see Thunder Wave. That is insane. And we do see Prankster. So that's really, really nice. We get this down to half HP. I think I can go just for another Dark Pulse here and just get more damage off on this guy. We do see U-turn. We are Sash, though. It takes us from 271 to 113. I'm so happy we caught that off guard. We chipped it down a ton, so it might be in range of Jolteon now, which is really nice. So U-turn. Let's see. U-turn. That's about 50 to 59. That's within range there. We do see Iron Jug come out. Dark Pulse does do a little bit of chip. It does roughly 25%, so that's in line with Offensive Jug. We did not see Booster. So no Booster means it could be Choice Specs. It always outspeeds us here. We never outspeed it. I feel like we could go into Rotom, but I don't like that too much. Dark Pulse does do a lot of damage to us. I think I just want to go for damage on this thing with Zoroark. I kind of just want to go for a Focus Blast and see if we can hit it. See what it wants to go for. It goes for Tailwind. Okay. Tailwind, so it means it's not choiced. We go for the Focus Blast and we're going to hit. We do a solid amount of damage. I feel like this could potentially be Boots. I kind of just want to go for another Focus Blast here and just get more damage off. Let's go for an Earth Power. We might live. No, we don't. It gets a crit. Okay. It's Life Orb. Okay. Zoroark got lots of chip down, which is really, really nice for us. So if it's Tailwind, it could have Dark Pulse. Could we go into Necrozma and Terra Fairy Maybe if we went into Jolteon and Terra Fairy'd, I wouldn't like that too much. We never outspeed with Indeedee under Tailwind. So I kind of like the Rotom Wash play here, because we shouldn't go down to anything it has. If it's just a standard set, and we can probably Volt Switch. Yeah, we're going to go into Wash. We can just go for a Volt Switch here and get priority. If they do decide to swap to Golurk. If they do decide to swap to Golurk, that's fine. We're wasting another turn of Tailwind. I expect a Dark Pulse play potentially. We do know it is not Choice Specs. It's Life Orb. That's still gonna do a might 2 at KO, depends after leftovers. Golurk makes the most sense here as a switch. So there's one turn of Tailwind down, so this is the second turn, so we have 2 more after this turn. Honestly, if we can position to get Indeedee in and then get Sneasler in towards the end of terrain, I would be happy with that. Or even earlier than that. Let's go for Dark Pulse. This is going to do a lot of damage to us. We do get the Volt Switch off, so we are going to knock out the Jug, which is really nice. We are not going to reveal our item either, which I guess is pretty cool. So no Jug means I feel like I could go into Necrozma now. I feel like I could go into Necrozma. I feel like I could also potentially go into Indeedee. I feel like I could just go into Indeedee. Yeah, I kind of like just going into Indeedee and getting my Psychic Surge up. Because by the time that Tailwind goes out, we'll still have Psychic Surge on the field. And we'll be able to throw Sneasler in Iron Beats. This is the Thunderous here. Now, the good thing is it can't Prankster us, but it could U-turn. So let's see. Indeedee, Thunderous. It could also run Dark Pulse, but we do know it has U-turn. U-turn does not KO us if it's a special attacker. We have max HP currently. I kind of just like going for an Expanding Force right now. I'm going to go for an Expanding Force. We do see Electric Terrain. That is a smart bring. We are going to knock it out, though, which is really nice. So I can just hard swap after this, I think. Yeah, we're going to pick up the KO. And the Tailwind goes out now, so that's really good. So that's good. The Tailwind is now done. Now, with the Electric Terrain, that could pose an issue. It really depends on what my opponent goes into. Iron Miku. Is that the... That's Meloetta. Okay. So Meloetta comes out. Okay. So in Electric Terrain with Meloetta on the field, do I want to go into Necrozma? Not really. If it's Choice Specs, that could be an issue. I do want to save Indeedee for Electric Terrain shenanigans. I feel like Rotom Wash isn't as necessary right now. I should be able to outspeed Floatzel with Sneasler. The question is, in rain with Unburden, we outspeed always with Unburden, and Dire Claw does do a lot of damage. I'm going to go into Rotom and just see what happens. I want to preserve the terrain because Sneasler Unburden outspeeds Floatzel in rain. We see Calm Mind. Okay. So Meloetta, it could be sub Calm Mind. See, +1/+1. Electric terrain with Rotom Wash on the field. I want to go for a discharge here. He wants to try setting up. That could be a problem. But I always outspeed this thing unless it's like running agility. Ooh, wait. It doesn't get agility. It has Hyper Voice, so that is going to knock us out. That's okay. So it KOs Rotom Wash. So let's see. Jolteon in electric terrain. T-Bolt does not quite do the damage. Psyshock does KO us. We know it's Hyper Voice. I think I have to go into Necrozma. Hyper Voice does do a lot of damage, though. If I go into Indeedee, get the Psychic Terrain up, and then go for just a couple of Expanding Forces, I think, to chip it down for Sneasler, because I believe Sneasler will be able to knock it out with enough chip. Sneasler should be able to knock it out with enough chip. What does more currently? Expanding Force should do more to this. We should be able to live at least one Hyper Voice, so I'm going to go for an Expanding Force here. I don't know if my opponent has sub. I don't know if my opponent has sub. Calm Mind, Hyper Voice. That's a decent chip. That's decent chip. Is Hyper Voice. Takes us down to 43 HP. We see lefties. Okay. How many? I should have 4 more turns of terrain, right? Yeah, 4 more turns of terrain. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to keep Expanding Forcing here. Okay. I feel like I might be able to go into Necrozma and chip it down a little bit more. Because how good is Terra Fairy Jolteon for me? It's not that great. Oh man, I wish I was Terra Dark. Terra Psychic Photon Geyser does do a lot of chip to this thing, and Hyper Voice is a 2-shot on us. It does outspeed, which is a problem, but I'm going to Terra Psychic. We're going to Photon Geyser and try to just chip this thing down as much as possible. Meloetta does not have Terra Dark, which is really good. Seen Hyper Voice, Psyshock, Calm Mind. Man, I wish I was running a physical Necrozma here. We see another Calm Mind. Okay, so it's going to get to +2/+2. We still live at least one Hyper Voice, which is good. Expanding Force actually does a little bit more. How many turns of terrain do I have? I have 2 turns. Okay. So I have this turn and next turn. I'm going to go for an Expanding Force. We see another Calm Mind. It's going to get to +3/+3. So it's going to one-shot us with a Hyper Voice. Unfortunately, I think I'm going to need to sack Necrozma because, well, does a +3 Hyper Voice knock out Sneasler? It's a roll. It is a big roll. And then I would have to Dire Claw with it at roughly 56%, so I'd have to high roll, maybe get... I feel like I have to. I'm kind of forced to. Although, with the Psychic Seed proc, that's special defense. If I'm not mistaken, the Psychic Seed is special defense. Yeah, so it's at plus... It would be at +1. It would be at +1. Okay, so I'm going to go into Spartacus. If my opponent goes for an insane... If my opponent goes for Psyshock, it's an insane play, and GG's to them. That would be a crazy move. If it's Psyshock here, it's over. I think it had to be Hyper Voice, though, just to knock out Necrozma. It's Shadow Ball. We live that. We should live that. We live that easily. Okay. And that's crazy. That's a crazy bring into potentially weakness policy Necrozma. So we get our Unburden off. We are always Dire Clawing here, no matter what. We always Dire Claw. This is very much dependent on a roll. We see Terra. What Terra do we see? It could be normal, ghost, or fairy. If it's fairy, we might win. It's ghost. Okay. That's fine. Terra Ghost is fine. That does mean we don't KO, but we could get the Dire Claw proc. We do not see the Dire Claw proc. Darn! Ah, that's annoying. That is annoying. I've used Dire Claw so many times. I've used Dire Claw so many times, and it has not procced once. I am annoyed at that. I am so unbelievably annoyed at that. I'm going back into Necrozma. Shadow Ball always KOs us, unfortunately, so we're going to go down. That's so annoying. Meloetta swept me. GG's to my opponent. GG's to Patel. I unfortunately just cannot beat this thing, even with Jolteon. That is annoying. Meloetta is a problem. And unfortunately, I lost Zoroark a little too early for that. GG's to Patel. That was great bring by Meloetta. Not having Zoroark late really screwed me for that. And not running Terra Dark on Necrozma like I should have definitely screwed me. I thought Terra Psychic Expanding Force would do a lot more, but I guess not. GG's to Padel and Faye. Whichever, I'm not sure which name you prefer. GG's. Best of luck the rest of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Join us back for week 5 next week, and hopefully we can get back on our feet. Peace.